Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. I am your host, Kim Warner, and I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about the shadow. We have a class tomorrow at 1:30 Pacific. If you want to get in on it, I'm going to the description box and look at the information so you can understand the time and the season that we're in concerning the shadow. A lot of people are getting upset with people because of what they see and what they hear, and they don't realize that as Neptune has been transiting, um, there's been like a mass where there's illusions and delusions that cover up what is true. So when Neptune went retrograde, the first thing that I saw in the beginning of July was situations where people were kind of like showing me some things. And oftentimes we will look at it and say, they're showing themselves, and we'll get upset or whatnot. But I had a vision of, a shadow moving around. And it was like, can you see me now? Do you understand? Can you see me now? It's moving back and forth everywhere that the person was moving in the vision. And I said, aha. So, you can try to explain that to people, and sometimes they don't get it. We live in a world that has been conditioned off of blame. But one of the things that will help us to create a better reality for ourselves and come out of false realities is to become accountable. Now, one of the things that I understand in accountability is that is hard for people because we've been living in a world of blame. The realities that we're shown as children are false, really, because we can grow up and shape our own reality, which means that if we suffered any trauma, any hurt, if you were someone that were raped, victimized, adopted, you actually can overcome it with the right tools. Shadowing means that I see something in somebody, and it may not be good, but I say that they're the problem. I don't take into account that I might be seeing that in them because it's something that I need to correct in myself. And this is really what the shadow gives us. So I don't want to stay long here. I just want to give an understanding. And someone might say, well, what does rape have to do with it? Well, if you were raped, you don't have to keep the feeling of victimization. You can work through it. And as you're working through it, honestly, what's going to happen is you'll be able to see people that's been raped without them telling you. And it's kind of like something of the description that people don't tell us concerning the anointing. Whatever you go through, trials and tribulations, the anointing identifies it in other people. You can see it without even talking to them. And that's where spirit will say, well, this happened to them. And it's because there's an inclusion of something that you have experienced, and the spirit is relative. All right. So if a person was raped and they carry the idea of the victimization on for years and years, what happens is, number one, they will keep magnifying rape situations to them. The shadow is going to keep bringing whatever to you until you learn that the fear that you carry because of it needs to be embraced, honored, and forgiven and released. So how do you forgive being a rape victim? I believe that you have to embrace what happened, or it will stagnate your life. If you don't embrace it, it's going to take life abundant from you, because the shadow side is dark and it works in a dark way, which means that there would be a block. And if there's a block, you cannot get the abundance that is owed to you. All right. And as you release, this is where the light comes in. So if we looked at Genesis and the energy that we are receiving this month from the planetaries, as so above is so below, heaven and earth, unified, not separated, is giving us dynamics and showing us things to give us an understanding of where we are and what we actually should be working on. So in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. Darkness was upon the face of the deep. So what are we dealing with here when it says the face of the deep? You know, the subconscious mind and situations that happen to us, they go deep. The things are planted deep within us, which means that when someone reflects a situation to me that I've been through, or that I might even be acting out as, I may not see that it is deep down because I've been suppressing it. So again, it says, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. That's the deep waters. That's like the ocean, right? And so in the ocean, what happens in a metaphysical way is that unconsciously we have things that are submerged within us. Like back in the past, if I was raped, I could have put it behind me. I could have gotten amnesia and totally forgot it, right? But it was down there. I mean, as a child, these things have happened to people. It's there. And so when shadow comes, it starts to show you people. Even situations will come up again, and it's drawing that situation that was suppressed within us up so that we can deal with it. If not, if we keep suppressing it, what happens is that we're going to keep having experiences. So in the deep, there is triggers and there are issues that we all have suppressed that need to be dealt with. They are our fears. They are what the shadow drives us to and drives to us. So even partnerships, marriages, relationships will draw people that have some likeness or even the ability to help us go into the deep and come up, bring healing. Go into the deep to get what? If I didn't accept myself as a child, then my husband might help me through his shadowing. He may not even know that he's a shadow. You know, some of the things that he does or says will trigger that. And that's just an example for people, you know, in relationships. So what is it within you that you are unconscious about that you're not allowing to come up, and someone is mirroring or being the shadow for you to see? This is a question you have to ask for yourself. Emotionally, you may have breakdowns, you may have fits or temper tantrums. It could be something that someone says and it just throws you off kilter, but it's something that you need to deal with because it is upon the face of the deep. It's not on top, it is in the bottom. The face of the deep is at the bottom. That means like in your lower parts. It could be, you know what I'm saying? And if we don't go to find out, what happens is that sickness and disease sets up. You know, someone with a hard heart towards things that happen to them in their life will see situations in their life and others that are really not there. It's just something that is pulling it up in them, and it looks like to them the people around them are causing the same situations as in the past, or where there was a hurt. They may not even see the memory of the picture. However, the thing is going within, going deep down and healing it. And I like to say that the way to heal it is recognize that there's an inner child in you if you were wounded, even an adult. You have to go back and embrace. And, ask for forgiveness. Even if the person is not there that did it to you, you have to embrace it and ask for forgiveness. So that is shadow work. Acceptance, rejection, all of the areas that will call you to actually have an emotional breakdown or some type of pain that registers and says, I don't like her, or I don't like him. And you walk down the street and something about a person, you just say, oh, it's just something about them I don't like. It's really something that you see in them that you don't like. And so take those nuggets and see if you can work with them. And remember, here, God hadn't even created in the first chapter of Genesis. The first verse of Genesis, light. And so my point of view is embrace the darkness so that you can get the light, because a lot of us have embraced light, but there's a mass confusion going on within us because we have not embraced the dark. The light and the darkness work together just like a battery, positive and negative. Iron sharpens iron. Without negative, I could not be better, which is where someone that causes me to see that I'm acting out angry is really a benefit to me. Why and how? Because they're showing me myself even when they don't even respond. If I'm angry and I start acting out consciously, I come back and say, what is going on with me? Now, before I learned my shadows, because I'm still learning some of them, and I just found out something the other day, but anyway, I thought it was okay to just be angry because it's what I am and what I do. But it can repel blessings for you. So if you use anger in a situation where you're working harder and you're getting that project out, but it's not projected at another person, that's great. But when you hold malice and you're cussing people out, that is not a good thing, because now you're creating, karma. Whatever goes around comes around. And so we want to be mindful of those things and look at, Galatians can help you when you're looking at the shadow. In 5:19 of Galatians, it talks about the son of perdition. And I said in my video yesterday, a lot of people don't see darkness in themselves, but Satan didn't either. Yeah. So if you don't see any negative in yourself to work on, good on you. I don't know why you might be here, but I would say that, you got to come up with something, because this here earth is for people that are in lessons. There, no one's perfect here. I just want to bust that bubble. I want to, because we got a lot of people walking around perfect, but you here in the earth, and I believe that this is hell. So that means that we've done some things that our energy said, you got to go back, your spirit, and redo this. Redo what? Some of what you didn't do correctly. And if you begin to live your life every day as a lesson, rather than just getting up and go to work and as though it's your life is meaningless, you'll do better. Solomon did say that everything, is meaningless, but that was his feelings because he was going through something, I believe. While you're here, you got to make life work for you. And that means if it's not working good, change something, do something different. So the class on the shadow work will be tomorrow at 1:30. The class is $30. Everyone is invited, especially if you're doing self-development. We do natal charts if you need one. That will help you, because the energy, a lot of people don't know what's going on with the energy. They didn't know that Pisces was in retrograde or Neptune and what that meant. And so because it is in retrograde, illusions are off. It's like you're seeing clearly. You're seeing who you are, and you're seeing what needs to be fixed in you. Our accountability is for ourselves. So once we can do the work on ourselves, the world will be a better place because we will have admitted that we did things that were out of order. Okay? So ifwbuilders@gmail.com is where you can email me. You can go to Cash App, $IFW Builders. And then PayPal, you can go to newwoman46 at yahoo.com. And that's NUWOMAN46 at yahoo.com. All right. Have a beautiful day and recognize your own shadow and become victorious. All right. Blessings.